This is the Calvin D Project, where we interview interesting people driven to change the trajectories of those they serve through learning, teaching, and writing. I want to thank you for being here. We're pleased to welcome Quinten Simon out of Houston, Texas. Make sure you stick around because some of the most powerful content is the advice portion that's at the end. So right before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already and hit that bell notification icon so you can get more episodes like this one. Quinten Simon, tell me a little bit about yourself and your ministry.
My name is Quinten Simon, and I'm from Houston, Texas. Born and raised in the country, my Enterprise, Texas, and now I reside in Houston, Texas. Lived a while in Lufkin, Texas before I moved to Houston. I'm enjoying the journey that God has me on here.
What would you say is your style as an artist?
My style is known for traditional gospel music as well as praise and worship. I try to do a little bit of it all, even a little quartet every now and then you will actually hear on my projects.
Looking back, what would you say was your first big break as a gospel artist?
My first big break in 2018 at the Rhythm of Gospel Awards. That year was my break because I won New Artist of the Year. From there, it seemed like God just started opening up doors, and He was just connecting me with the right people at the right time to go and be able to minister in their city and their church and different musicals and different concerts. And that was my biggest break then.
You recently received 2 national awards from the Rhythm of Gospel Awards and RAA Awards. Now, I understand you're also a songwriter. Thinking about where you are now and what you've been able to accomplish to date, what would you say are some of your goals that you set for yourself moving forward?
Get my music out in all of the countries, and I want to be able to travel all across the world, different countries, and sing it. And if I can just at least minister to somebody, help somebody along the way, I feel like my living won't be in vain, and I'll be able to touch souls and encourage people through the lyrics and the message that my songs deliver. That's what I see myself doing, and that's what I plan on doing. I just want to go in different areas, even if the lyrics cause someone to want to give their life over the Christ. That's a major part of my goal.
Speaking of awards, you won a Praise Factor Award back in September. Talk about your experience at the Prize Factor Awards in Atlanta.
Wow, the Praise Factor Awards was phenomenal. That was actually my first time going, and I met Dr. Teresa Jordan and so many other wonderful gospel artists and different radio personalities. Just amazing people from all over was there. I believe they even had some people that came in from over in Jamaica and Africa. It was just an awesome worship experience. I remember meeting a guy, I did an interview with a guy from England, and it was amazing. That award that I won was Musician of the Year. Mm-hmm. So not only I'm a gospel artist, but I am a musician. Mm-hmm. So I don't only sing the music, but I actually play music as well. It was just an awesome experience.
What's the backstory for your song, God Did Just What He Said? That song was recently one of the top songs on Radio Elon Live.
That song came to me. I had put out an album back in, I believe it was 2019, and it was entitled God Still Answers Prayer. Well, I went through some other things after that project. He had already spoke to me and said, I'm going to do just what I said I'm going to do. I am a man that keeps my promises. You don't have to worry about me wavering and backdoing on my word, because I'm going to come through. So I would read the scriptures every day. And I said, Lord, you told me that one of my favorite scriptures, for we know that all things work together for the good of them who love the Lord and are called according to His purpose. Even though I didn't understand some things that I was going through at that particular time that I was beginning to write, but to see the outcome of it, I came out better than I was before that I went in the situation I was going through. And God spoke these words to me. I never forget, I had just came home I think I just left choir rehearsal and I came home, and God told me in the car before I could even get out of the car, he said, I did just what I said. I don't know why you was worried or afraid, because you knew I was going to come through for you. You knew I was going to fight for you.
Yeah.
So that's how that song came about. God did just what he said.
The pain and heartache you've been through, the struggles, they'll bring you out. What comes to your mind when you hear those words?
I know you have heard of people that go through church hurt. People handle it in different ways. You have people that get hurt in the church and they don't go back to church anymore. And I want to say this, you expect to get hurt from worldly people. Mm-hmm. But it's a different kind of hurt. That's right. When you get hurt in the church and those people say they love the Lord and they are saved and they are Christian, talking about church folks. Mm-hmm. To be hurt, and I remember a time that I was going through at this particular church that I was at. I was serving as minister of music there. Some things went on there that I just didn't imagine going through. I was like, Lord, why me? Why me? And God was telling me, why not you? And then the Lord spoke to me. He said, sometimes we stay in a place where I'm really trying to take you somewhere else. But because you have got content, because you have got stagnated in what you're doing and accustomed to this tradition, I'm trying to take you somewhere else. So God spoke to me and said, I'm going to make this thing uneasy for you. I'm going to cause you some hurt. I'm going to cause you some pain, some trials. Yeah. Even some nights you may stay up all night crying because I'm trying to take you somewhere. So after he had took me through all that, I said, okay, God, I'm listening. I'm listening to you. God told me to step out on faith. And at that particular time, I was working as an activity director at a facility. He said, let it go. Leave there. And I didn't understand. I'm like, Lord, I'm leaving there. I ain't going to have no job. He told me, I want you to transfer and move to Houston. I waited on the job. And finally a job came through. But I want to tell you, I know it was a move of God. I said, God, I'm trusting you in this process because I'm moving out here without no job. I don't have no church out here yet. So I'm trusting in you totally. And I want to tell you, not only God blessed me to be able to move and transition, he blessed me with a job first. Then after 2 weeks after I got here, he blessed me with a job. And then after that, he blessed me the next month to serve as a full-time minister of music at a church here. And I tell you, still serving there. And I know it was the move of God. I know that he had spoken to me and I obeyed him.
As you say, don't you worry about a thing.
Don't you worry about a thing.
On that song, Jacqueline Bonner Calhoun is featured on that particular song that I brought up. What's your process on determining if an artist is going to be a good fit to be featured on the song?
I may be a little different. A lot of times people look at popularity. I don't really look at that too much. I look at the anointing that this person has upon their life and their character. Before I put them on my project, I would honestly say that I made the absolutely right choice when I asked Miss Jacqueline Calhoun Bonner to be featured on this project. And she was like, oh my God, yes, I'm excited. I'm whatever you need me to do. So when I sent her the music, her daughter was in the hospital at that particular time. She was very ill. And she said, oh my God, this song is right on time. And she said, I can't wait to get home and play with it and see what I'm going to do with it. And I said, yes. I must say this, about 2 weeks ago, when the song was actually released, it was released like 3 days and her daughter had passed away. So a lot of things she was talking about in that song, about he'll bring you out. I know she can testify that song is carrying her through even now. She didn't realize the words that she was singing in that song, but now it is a testimony that God has given her strength. I saw today that she was saying, thank God for the strength of prayers because it's keeping me. So you just never know how a song is going to minister, not only to the people, but come back and minister to you as well. God, he led me to call Miss Jacqueline Calhoun Bonner. for that project.
Which are your songs would you say that when you perform ministers to you the most?
It's a song that I am so often requested everywhere, just about everywhere I go. And that song is God Still Answers Prayer.
Yeah.
And I believe that song ministers to me as well as the people, because when you go through some things and you can't see your way out, and it seems like you got more bad days than good days, and so many times you go through so many problems, and something about when you enter into your prayer closet and begin to pray and call on the name of Jesus, because God already knows what we're going through. He's just waiting to hear from us. And when you talk to him and just ask him, Lord, I can't make it. I need your help. I'm about to lose it all. God, I need you to step in, intervene, make a way. And when God answers your prayer, then you can testify not only to yourself, but to other people that God still answers prayers. Don't give up on God. He will come through for you. So that's how that song ministers back to me as I minister to other people. Because like I said, we always going through something. In life, we're going to go through situations. And we just have to continue to stay prayerful and keep fasting and believe that God is going to answer our prayers.
The Quinten Simon Live Talk Show. Speak on your platform and what you're wanting to accomplish with your platform.
Quinten Simon Talk Show live broadcast began through the pandemic. I always tell that story because I was at home. You know, all the church doors was pretty much closed, and you weren't really able to come in. You was just mainly, that's how the live Facebook worship services began. A lot of them was not going live during the worship services. So everything was closed, but God told me to build my own platform. So I started in my living room playing the piano, singing. You would have thought it was 100 or 1,000 people here. The way I was singing, give God the praise. But I would just say, God, I can't go in the four walls, so I got to bring it from my home.
Yeah.
So the people need something. And I had got a call from Nigeria. And this gentleman asked me, would I like to host my own talk show? And said, you can operate the way you want to. So that's how it was first formed. And some of the things that I do on the broadcast is help promote independent gospel artists, national gospel artists, artists that's up on the labels as well, entrepreneurs, authors, and pastors and evangelists. I interview those type of people and just try to help push them. And the reason why I do that, Calvin, is because I believe what you help make happen for somebody else, God allow it to happen for you. But so you got to help push other people. And I don't get paid a dime to do it. And I thank God I have some listener viewers, and they'll send in a donation saying, you have been a blessing to me. I was sick, but I was watching you and you was praying, and you don't know you was praying over me. At a particular time, you gave some words that was encouraging to me, and you helped me through the struggle that I was going through. It's just a blessing. And to speak, I know you asked me about where do I see it going. In the near future, I pray that God will allow me to have my own TV show. I'm claiming and speaking it, and still be able to promote independent gospel artists and national artists and authors and preachers and pastors, evangelists all over the world.
You mentioned your platform. There being no big I's and little U's. Talk about putting God in front of everything you do.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, in everything that I do, I trust God. I come from a small town, and you didn't hear of many people coming from a small country town being very successful. Very few people leave home from the country and be successful. But a lot of times people close you in a box because they never saw you, never heard you, so they don't know nothing about you. I had to trust God in this process. And I said, God, I trust you. And I totally trust you because I gave money for projects and I didn't see the project. He said, Lord, I done gave all my money away and I still don't have my project. I said, God, I got to trust you in this process. So God will allow you to connect with the right people to get you where you're going. The Bible talks about the Spirit. You try the Spirit by the Spirit. So you get the chance to really know who you can trust, who you can't trust, because you cannot trust everybody in this business. I must say that. Trusting God in everything I do, every platform I go to, whether it's big or small, because there's no big platform or small enough platform for me to go on. Listen, every opportunity that God allows Quinten to go on, I'll go. Big or small. And I always pray. I always trust God. It's been some times that I've had to sing at events and I was the only gospel artist there. I'm like, God, how this supposed to work? Everybody got to do their R&B and they rap music, and they telling me I am the future gospel artist. They got to come on and sing behind all this. God told me to build your own platform, and trust me, the people's going to be blessed. When you open up your mouth and you talk about what things that I've done for you, talking about God, the things that I brought you through, because people listen to R&B, people listen to rap, listen, that does not mean they're not going through trials and tribulations just like me. But they need to know there is a friend that sit high and look low, and his name is Jesus, and he can help you through it all. So I just trust him. I trust him.
You mentioned speaking the word. Speak on GFB Church in Houston, where you are the minister of music.
GFB stands for Greater First Baptist Church. I am the minister of music. I've been serving there 6 years. Been at that one spot ever since I moved here to Houston, and God has blessed me in so many ways. I have a church family. I'm not only a minister of music there, but I also serves as an active member. I want to say that because I know some of the musicians, they go play for church, but they never join a church. So I actually have a covering. My pastor is Pastor Rory Thompson, senior, and I tell you, it's been a blessing to be at a church where people really love God and they love people. And you can just feel the spirit when you come in that spirit of God, and you can feel a warm spirit from the heart of the people that are there. We're like one big family. So I love it there. I have a chance to work with the young people, the youth department. I'm able to work with the men's division, the male chorus, the mass choir. I'm over all the choirs there, and the mission choir. So it's phenomenal. I love it. I wouldn't take nothing for this journey.
All right. Speaking on choirs, can you talk a little bit about the people that do the background for you on your music?
Absolutely. Well, we know everybody can't get in the studio. So I take a small crew of singers. I'm going to name a few of the names. Sean Holmes, he's a phenomenal singer. And these singers travel with me when I go off to sing at different events a lot of times. Sean Holmes, I minister Kevin Hudson, Emily Crosby, Chandra Hilaire, and Miss Demetra Ethel. She's also an upcoming gospel artist. And Miss Lauren Thomas, she's a director of a group. So it's good. We're friends, but we're more like family. The group members that I have that come and do background for me, I go and I support them as well. So if they have something they're working on, because like Lauren Thomas is working on a project and Demetra Ethels is working on a project, I've been helping them through this process as well. So it's just great. It's great. It's great all the way around. I thank God for my background singers. Minister J. Bass did some background singing for me, as well as Jamarcus Johnson, Kenneth Green Sr., Charlie Green. So, I mean, I've had some phenomenal background singers, and as I say, that most of them are artists as well in their own rights.
And they do a phenomenal job. Your music sounds really good.
Thank you so much.
Got a question for you. Now, there are many talented and anointed gospel artists and background singers as you spoke of. Can you speak a little bit about, have you noticed there being a shortage of traditional gospel musicians?
Absolutely. I can honestly say that because I believe of the term of the praise and worship has taken over. Most churches don't even have a choir anymore. They just have a small praise and worship team that sings every Sunday on every services. A lot of musicians are missing out on good choir music. And a lot of musicians don't go to like the Gospel Music Workshop of America to learn the traditional gospel music, learn the hymns of the church. I was in a church service been some time ago, and the guest pastor asked the musician to play Amazing Grace. And the musician looked at the audience and spied at me. He's like, I don't know how to play this song. And it breaks my heart because those songs, if you do the history behind the hymns of the church, you will realize that it was written out of hurt, disappointment, out of death. Some of them, like Precious Lord, Take My Hand, when you do the history of these songs, they was written off of a life story experience that people have went through. So they missed out on a whole group of great songs, gospel songs, traditional songs. So yes, it's been a shortage, and then a lot of people just want the contemporary. Those that have choirs, they want to stick with the contemporary. But it's good to know traditional gospel music, because for musicians, you never know, it may not work out in one church. Like you may end up at a Baptist church or a CME church, and or Church of God in Christ, wherever you may be led to, but you may have a different audience. Yeah. And I say that people say, what you mean by different? You may have a different audience. You may have be in a church that really love traditional gospel music, love the hymns. And some pastors require a hymn before they preach every Sunday morning or after they preach on Sunday mornings. And some churches like anthems. So, we have to be well-rounded. Don't just put yourself in a box and say, I'm just going to do contemporary, or I'm going to do praise and worship, or I'm just going to do traditional. I have been a musician for many years, and one of the things that I learned, be versatile, be able to reach the young, be able to reach the middle age, be able to reach the old, because we don't leave nobody else. We don't want to leave nobody out. Right. Nobody out. So yes, it is a shortage of traditional gospel musicians.
And you mentioned reach. Let's talk a little bit about the people in the trenches supporting indie artists with airplays and attention on social media. Talk about having the support of people like Roy Benton, Gerald Irvin in Michigan, Robert Barnes. Why are they so important to independent artists?
They are so important to me and independent artists because before my music was even, I want to say, coded, because a lot of people don't even know what that means, coding your music, and that's another whole avenue. Most artists know what I'm talking about. They was the ones that told me, get me your music ASAP. I want to play your music on my radio broadcast. I want to bring you in and have you do an interview with me and let the people know about your music and get you out there so that people can hear you and invite you to their different events. Those three, Rob Benton from Nacogdoches, Texas, a great radio angel. I'm just going to call him a radio angel that's been doing it for many, many, many years. He has played my music. He's still playing my music. And Robert Barnes there in the state of Alabama. He's a phenomenal radio announcer as well and has played my music, supported me down through the years because I met him at the Rhythm of Gospel Awards. And from there, you see how those connections begin. Yeah. So he asked me for my music, and I had sung on the showcase there. He's been playing my music ever since. And every time I get out something new, he says, send it to me. I'm going to put you on air. And Gerald Irvin, I met him at the Rhythm of Gospel Awards back in 2018. Him and his wife, his wife is named Carol Irvin. They both host Rejoice Praise radio show. They have been such a blessing to me because when we was at the Rhythm Gospel Awards, they took my music back that particular time and started playing me. I tell you on air, and it's just been a blessing. They still support my ministry. So it's good, especially for independent artists that's not up on the label. So we need all the help and support that we can get. So I thank God for Radio Angels like that.
What new projects are you working on that you can share with us?
We talked about one that just was released. It's entitled Don't You Worry About a Thing by Jacqueline Bonner Calhoun. And I was featuring her on that project. I'm working on a full album. That was just a tease. So if you heard that song and you like it, listen, just wait, because we're going straight to church on this album. It's going to be entitled He Brought Me Out. And when I tell you I got something for the Baptist folks, I got something for the young folk, I got something for the Kojic folks, listen, we coming. And it's called He Brought Me Out. We're going to church all the way on this project. And one particular song on the project, I am featuring, a lot of people know her. She is famous now, Mother Mitty. She's a well-known comedian, but she also is a gospel singer. A lot of people don't know that. But her name is Natasha Bates. And I am going to feature her on one of the songs that you never heard her sing before. You got to get my album. And it will be released soon. We're looking at maybe on New Year's Day. That's what I'm hoping for. But we're praying.
So if you were putting together a concert of independent gospel artists, what 5 artists or groups would you choose to perform in your concert?
Oh, Lord, I grin because I'm like, you're going to get me shot. I would possibly use Kimberly Jackson, Marcus Jordan. These are some of the artists I work with here in Houston. My sister Sheila Moore Piper, Tina Nims, Boson. She's a gospel artist here. And Kimberly Braggs. I got to say, I am a director of Lufkin IC Choir, which stands for Lufkin Interdenominational Choir. It's a community choir in Lufkin, Texas, as well as Houston Mass Choir. I am an active member of Houston Mass Choir.
For my audience that wants to connect with you, how do we find you?
You can find me on all social media platforms such as Facebook. I'm up under Quinten Simon Music. You can find me there. You can find me on Twitter as well as Instagram. I'm Q Simon Music on Instagram. Quinten Simon on TikTok. So you can find me on all of those good social media platforms.
Quinten Simon, I want to thank you for being a guest on the Calvin D Project podcast this week. Be sure to connect with Quinten Simon on social media and also check out his music. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so you can get more episodes like this one. And thank you again for listening to the Calvin D Project.